And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Oh! Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kaze are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Dean are all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate Case across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
And hello viewers, and welcome to what is quite a stormy qualifying here at Speilburg, and of course as always joined by WMDR Martin.
Greetings.
So yeah, incredibly quite a simple track, but an incredibly wet one at that, which could cause some massive complications, especially going into turn 2, officially turn 3, but that left kink doesn't count as a corner. I'm already going to start with the controversy.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you on that one.
Yeah,
Let's go on board now.
If it wasn't difficult enough to drive these cars, we're not driving them in rain conditions. No, that would be too easy. We're driving them in storm conditions, not only for qualifying but for the race. We've got 3 weather slots: stormy, rain, stormy. So the wet tires are going to be the ones in use, and from what I understand from Auto Blister, these wet tires go off quite quickly. So not only will locking up destroy your tires originally on the slicks, but now they're going to just disappear when you lock up. So hopefully we won't see too many lockups. Whoa!
Well, that's definitely not a lockup, but also not the most ideal line to the penultimate corner. But yeah, I do like to imagine that the tire just deletes itself and you're suddenly driving on rims if you lock up.
Yeah. I mean, they probably give you more grip out on this track. Yeah, it's just... This track, in dry conditions, would have been so simple. I mean, people would have been getting about 1 minute 10s and 20s. But I'm going to be surprised if we hit those minute 10s and 20s. Because just the weather, you can just see how much rain is coming out some of the back of these cars. Some of the drivers deciding actually to turn off particles, so drivers won't be seeing that, but we're gonna get the whole immersive effect and see all of the particles and all the rainwater get splashed up.
As we now have all 20 drivers out on track for qualifying, so expect to see lap times coming up soon. And yeah, just currently using the bumper cam to see how much water is actually on track at the moment. There don't seem to be too many giant puddles just yet, but I'm guessing there's going to be more of those in the race.
Yeah, I mean, especially through turn 5, which is the right-hander before you head into that left-hander section. There's a puddle on the inside there, and going through that left-hander section, the last corner of the left-hander section, normally there is a big puddle that slowly forms over the course of this, well, what would it be, this quality session and the race.
As Keza puts it on provisional pole with a 132.2, so that's definitely a far cry from those lap times you were mentioning earlier. But yeah, it looks like most people still warming up on their laps. Most people quite far off of Keza's pace for now, and from practice earlier, it did not seem like Keza was one of the faster drivers tonight, so definitely expect those times to keep on tumbling.
Ultimate K still up on his time by a tenth and a bit. I wonder if anyone else is going to be able to improve. The Nissan is definitely going to be a contender for tonight, as it doesn't have as many straight line sections compared to our last two rounds. Our last two rounds, of course, being Hockenheim and, if I can find it, I can't remember what was the last round actually.
Oh, that is a bit of traffic there for Cuckoo.
Who don't think gonna like that, but the car gets out the way in time. Section's gonna be extremely hard. You can run wide there, as long as you keep within the curbing, I believe. But across the line for Cuckoo, and that's gonna be provisional pole for them. They're just taking it away from Wild Mammoth.
Yeah, by only 17 milliseconds, and again, less than a tenth from K's as well, so really close top three for the time being. Lots of people, though, have not set a lap time yet, and Binding even 18 seconds off the pace. That cannot be a push lap.
Yeah, I mean, 18 seconds off the pace, that's just... yeah, 100%. That's got to be a bankroll. Sometimes the pit crew count your lap when you come out of the pits, so hopefully we'll see a quicker time from him later.
We're already seeing quicker times here from Matt's, currently doing quite well for himself in the standings now with a 131.7 in qualifying, half a second up on the rest of the field and gaining even more on the next lap.
Matt's so far the championship leader, leading by 15 points ahead of his teammate Vilside, and 21 points against their closest non-teammate rival Gillis in third. So yeah, the field though still looking quite spread. Gillis in 10th, so Gillis is definitely going to be wanting to join Matt up in the top, as well as yeah, Vilside needs to set a lap time. I'm hoping actually, just going to quickly check with you that Trouble, Exus, Condor and Svi haven't set a lap. Well, one of them just did. Those...
So far, I think only Trouble has not set a lap yet.
Yeah, I got Exus and Condor in P1920.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Let's see where Condor places on my system. Yeah, Condor is currently in P14 on my screen.
Last time I fixed this by leaving and rejoining the lobby, so I'm tempted to do that just to get those. Let's be honest, it's only 2 people, so I guess we can you know, could be worse, as I think that looked like maybe Matt. Yeah, Matt was on the right hand side and heading to pit lane.
Yeah, he's just improved on his time again, now setting a 131.4, which is miles ahead of the competition. 7 minutes left though. A lot of things can still happen.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna stay on board with Trouble for now to see if he actually completes this lap and if it's gonna register or not, because otherwise he's gonna be off the charts for both of us.
Goes. Or is that some driver going wide? Hopefully that won't hinder Trouble. Trouble properly in that gap there, and I think actually going down the end.
Oh, it's a ghosted car. I think that's to do with the pit lane bug.
Ah, yeah, with people joining later. So these two drivers actually can't see each other. I mean, it's better than having the on top of each other car glitch.
True, as Veilside now puts it into P2, so I believe that is... Wait, hold on, just real quick, let me check this.
That one's Fee in P3.
Well, Veilside on my screen is P2. Who's in... No, Veilside's in P2 on your screen as well.
Yeah, and Svi and P3.
Oh, Svi, yeah, okay, yeah. No, Veilside and Matt's once again taking the top 2 spots, showing how really good they are in qualifying in this car. I wonder if they'll be able to keep that up next season if they decide to team up again, because this is some impressive stuff. And Trouble has actually set a lap now, so all drivers on my end do seem to be functioning properly. He's set a 33.7, which is good enough for 17th place.
Still missing those last 2.
Can you scroll down again so I can check who those are?
Exus
Just so I
and
can give an update on their positions. Okay, Exus and Condor. Exus is currently in last place with a 140.5, and Condor has managed to side by less than a tenth. Puts it into P2.
You cut out massively for me.
Ah, it sounds like Discord's having issues then.
On the
Kaza's put it
one.
into P2, less than a tenth ahead of Veilside.
Yeah, my K's are doing really good there. I've just been asked to hydrate, so I'm going to do that now. Drive. Carla, I know who you're talking about because I was watching them as well. I forgot what their channel is. I've sure I'll find them later. Yeah, no, I was fun enough watching them. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think you asked me to raid them one time, but it's back to business. Yeah, Kukudo is the highest Nissan, doing a really good job putting that thing into P5, probably the most controllable car.
That seems like there's less rain on this windshield compared to some of the other cars too, which is interesting. And yeah, I'm seeing Tokugawa saying he almost beat Mats in a race. He didn't, but he almost did. And I'm pleased to tell you, I actually almost didn't beat Mats in a race the other week. So we almost share that in common. Yeah, it was quite a close one with Mats almost taking me on the final lap, but it was all fair in a very tough fight. But yeah, it's just looking at this layout though. If they want to call that kink a corner, I mean, we can go on board with someone who's just now starting their lap.
I mean, I understand what they mean.
Then this real corner is of course a corner, but I'm not done yet because there's more kinks coming.
Oh!
That's a corner too many. I mean, I'd be confused as well, but see if they can get this back out on track without resetting it. Yes. I mean, that was with a reset, but at least they're not in the pits. So now the track curves slightly to the right, so you can call that another corner.
I've been hydrated again.
As the track now curves to the left, so that's yet another corner before the real corner. I mean, that's the mentality they use when they call that little kink after turn 1, turn 2.
In my opinion, if something has a DRS zone in it, how can it be a corner? You know, it doesn't make any sense. As much as I would like to see an option where you could just press DRS whenever you want in F1. That would be hilarious, and that would just be which driver has the bigger balls. But
I think we'd see a lot more crashes in that case, which would absolutely be entertaining. But I feel like that's a bit of a flimsy definition to work with, though, because for some slower cars, something might be a corner, whilst for other cars, it's literally just a kink and not a real corner. But I don't think any car has any effort whatsoever with taking the supposed turn 2. I think it's practically a straight for any vehicle out there.
That's behind, I believe that is, but that's Svi in the gravel and then in the pits. So that's
but in P2 and only 1/10 away from Matt, so Svi doing exceptionally well, definitely showing that practice pace was not a fluke. So looking forward to see his performance tonight. K's, Veilside, and Mammoth, though, all within 1/10 of each other, so that's going to be very, very close for who gets P3. Rest of the drivers, though, seem to be a little bit further down the grid, although we do have everyone within 3 seconds of pole now.
The timer ticks down. All the people that you saw just enter the pit lane on the left-hand side of your screen. It is going to be quali over for them. They're not going to be able to get a lap time out right now. But we are going to be able to see some people potentially overtake Svi or maybe even Matt. In the field is quite spread. The top 8 all within a second of each other though.
Yeah, and I mean, Svi's qualifying may be over, but his lap is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's 1/10 behind Matt and 4/10 ahead of the rest behind him, so I'd be quite surprised if anyone's able to top his lap.
Gillis coming out of nowhere, taking P4. A couple, half a tenth more, and he would have got P3, and half a tenth slower, and he would have been in P7. So that shows you how close P3 to P7 actually is, no, to P6 actually is.
Yeah, that's wild. We've now got 4 cars within a tenth over there, so hopefully it's going to be that close for the race as well. As Cuckoo's still in P7, not too far off of that, and Eddie and Tomba close behind. Tomba maybe not quite showing the pace we've seen from him before, but still in the top 10 nonetheless. Xevious into the pits, no more qualifying for him. Some people at the back that are going to want to improve in this last chance are going to be Exus, Jedlin, and Kunisek, all at least 2.4 seconds behind the leader as things stand. Oh, and that's a spin. Is that?
I think that's Exus.
Exus. Yeah, so he's not going to be improving either. He stays last place, 2.8 seconds off the lead.
Did you mention Exus in that list of driver names? You did, didn't you?
I did say he's one of the drivers that's going to have to improve in these last attempts.
And the curses are already out, it seems. But yes. Oh! That's spinalering into the wall there.
That one too much. It's my best guess. But Keza now coming across the line. Now he's into the pits. And what is Fennec doing?
Fennec is... I don't know.
I feel like his car was dancing on the main straight.
Someone asking, why is Binding not P1? It's because he's in P14.
Oh, very astute observation there. Thank you, Nismo. Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone on track is still on a lap or not, but some people coming across the line. I don't think any of them improved, really, so that's the end of qualifying.
So it's going to be Mats with a 131.404 taking pole position. Svi a tenth and a bit behind, as well, and Ultimate K's P3 5/10 behind, but it's very close between P3 and P6. Just a couple milliseconds behind is Gillis, and behind even closer is Veilside, and even closer is Wild Mammoth. And then it goes Cuckoo 6/10 behind in P7, Eddie in P8, Thunderhawks in P9, Xevious in P10, Fennec in P11, Kunisek in P12, Trickster in P13, Binding in P14, Scuderia Condor in P15.
Followed by Kunisek in P12, Trickster in 13th, Binding in 14th, not P1, Condor in 15th, followed by Trouble, Ellie, Max, Jedlin, and Exus to round out the top 20.
Thank you, Fateh. I just remembered that I don't actually have some people on my screen, so thank you. And also, how dare you hydrate me as well, you know. Out of all my viewers, I didn't expect my own co-commentator.
Wait. So did you stop saying names because those were all the ones on your screen, or did you stop because I hydrated you?
I stopped because you started speaking.
Okay. Well, I think then you got cut off by Discord, because on my end you were dead silent.
Discord clearly being a bit El Stupido today, and Carla as well. You know, I had a point and it's already almost gone. I'm gonna have to
We're gonna do it so hard that you're gonna need a toilet break before the race is over.
Oh no. Don't, just to make it even worse, I've got the rain and thunderstorm effects from Automobilista 2. Just to Can't Lover, no! Don't do it, Can't Lover!
As the drivers are just getting ready now with their setups and pit strategies. After that, it's going to be one short formation lap, and they're going to get on their merry way for the 40-lap storming race through the Austrian mountains.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, starting this already, I heard when we were doing the driver intro that I heard a bit of a thunderstorm, but anyways, it's gonna be Matt's to leave the field for the formation lap, the following behind, and this whole grid coming away. Yeah, for me, Access and Superior Condor are glitched.
You know, I think with this Discord cutoff glitch, I think you're probably not going to be cutting off on stream, but you are going to be cutting off on Discord. So sometimes, just for the viewers, I might accidentally interrupt Nismo because he's silent on my end.
Yeah, I'll see. Maybe it's just in general with my mic. Hopefully, because I've just brought it closer just in case. Because according to my thing, I don't think it was actually picking me up. As I have hydrated again, Carl Lover, for goodness sake.
That's why I need push to talk.
I've already got so many buttons to press. That being one for green flag and another one for yellow flag.
You should just get a custom big red button.
And somehow, I had a look at all the stream decks and things. Somehow, 6 buttons cost about 120 quid or something.
That is quite wild. I think it'd be cheaper to just weld something together yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah,
that's what...
Can I just mention how little you can see in the spray?
I mean, it's absolutely terrible.
I mean, you can at least see the rear lights through most of it. I think in real life that might not quite be the case, so they do have that advantage. But it's definitely not the best environment to race in. I mean, you can barely see the curbs of the lines on the track at all.
Yeah, some drivers are going to be running with it off, but for those who are running with it on, good luck. You are going to...
Can you completely disable it, or is it just minimizing it?
It basically gets rid of it altogether.
That should not be a thing in the game. I think that is definitely a bit of a cheat.
Well,
As they
game
all come
is
to a standstill.
Oh, this is a perfect camera. Keep this camera. Yeah, all the drivers making their way through the second last corner. Matt's to lead the way, and Svi, not this time Veilside, going to be lined up next to Matt's.
Yeah, Veilside going to be wanting to avoid first lap troubles, as he's been involved in some incidents in the past. Not always his fault, but definitely not the luckiest driver we've had so far. That's
going to be Matt's in the start zone right now. When is he going to go? When is he going to leave this group off? And it's go, go, go. We're getting quite a bit of wheel spin off the start there. And almost going 4, potentially... Yeah, 4 wide, now 3 wide through the first corner. Gillis trying all the way around the outside, but gets squeezed off by Svi. Be holding that P2 position, but Ultimate K is under attack from Gillis. Gillis trying to make the move on Ultimate K's.
I can hardly see anything, but I do see a lot of people still side by side. And yeah, I don't think Keza got the best launch off of that start, but he's definitely not giving up yet, forcing Gillis a little bit wide there. That gives Veilside a better opportunity coming out of the corner, but he pulls back into the slipstream as close as possible. Might be able to send it down the inside if that does not get covered off by Gillish. And,
whoa!
Oh, it's close!
That's contact between Ultimate K's and Gillis.
And Svi's off as well from P2.
That is...
Veilside now passes everyone and goes up into P2 behind his teammate. It's the opposite of a bad start for this team for once.
Yeah, and exactly what, as I read in the chat, murder is exactly what we have witnessed. As Speed trying to move, but I think he's gone too deep as well.
Oh, and I think that's Tomba off the track. It, in fact, is, and Gillis being shoved wide by multiple people. Now the camera mostly focusing on water instead of vehicles, but yeah, Matt's just peeling off into the distance, already 2.2 ahead of the rest. And lots of action still going on in the back.
I've got to mention, somehow, after lap 1, it's Matt's P1 and Veilside P2. Which,
yeah, it's been a tremendous start for their team tonight, so that's gonna do wonders for the constructors if they can keep it in those positions. Veilside by no means safe yet, with Eddie still fairly close behind him, but yeah, their main rivals really suffered on that lap. Keza down into 6th, Gillish in 7th, Svi down in 8th, and I don't even know where... Oh, Tomba's in 19th at this point.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised the safety car wasn't called, because, I mean, 3 cars went off. As much as there wasn't a collision between only 2 of them, it looked as if that could have potentially been a safety car incident.
Yeah, I mean, it might not have been all the same incident, but definitely 3 cars being in incidents at the same time, as Mammoth now sending it down the finish line, but he goes wide. He's completely overshot it, and that's cost him multiple positions. Now he gets re-overtaken by Svi, going back into P7.
I mean, it seems as if there's a lot of water, or just not that much grip going into turn...
That's Tomba going off again! That's the 2nd time in just as many laps. He's having an awful race tonight. Maybe that setup just a little bit too twitchy or whatever's going on there, but he is not feeling happy with that car.
Yeah, the Nissan, one of the more controllable cars as well, so that is just absolutely... yeah, that is really, really terrible start for Tomahawks.
As we're seeing Cuckoo overtake X for P15. Clean as you like, but just in front of them, I think it's getting incredibly close. Try and see if we can get a somewhat decent view of it all, but yeah, so much water on track, it is hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely... yeah, it's just extremely hard to see in these conditions. As
Jedlin and Condor almost make contact. Jedlin with the better straight line speed, gonna go down the inside. Up ahead, 2 people side by side as well. But the car up ahead, I think it's Xevious holding on to that position for now, holding off Trouble, who actually did get a bit more practice in than usual this time. And Jedlin makes that overtake stick on Condor, so he's up into 13th. Condor down in 14th.
Just a couple cars. I think Svi and Wild Mammoth are quite close on track.
That they are, as it's looking like a look up the inside of Svi by Mammoth. I think, yeah, Mammoth lost a decent few positions as well in those skirmishes earlier, so he's going to be looking to recover from that. Tomahawks, has he made a pit stop?
No, I thought I saw another car fly off the track towards the end of the I mean, he could have, but I didn't notice. I thought I saw another car make another mistake towards the back, and that could have been him again, just struggling in these conditions.
Meanwhile, another fight to look out for is going to be this one, with Keza slowly catching up to Eddie for 3rd place. However, I think this is going to be even closer. No, okay, the timings were slightly lying to us, but Jedlin definitely looking to get an overtake done on Trouble out of turn 1. I've
definitely got to mention that battle between Ultimate K's and Eddie, as you mentioned earlier. I mean, Ultimate K's, though, he was down in P9 or 8, I swear, after having that collision with Gillis Hammond. So he's done an absolutely terrific job, and within 3 laps, he's managed to get quite a bit of those positions back, and almost back into his, almost back into his original position.
Yeah, and I mean, he's right behind his teammate at this point, so this should be smooth sailing from here. Eddie might be letting him go if he keeps on making mistakes like that, and then Keza can try and see if he can match Veilside's times, but currently he's a little bit slower, so it's going to be a tough order for him to catch up to P2.
He once again going wide, not doing the best, in fact, spinning.
Yeah, it was a half spin there from Eddie, right in front of his teammate, no less. I think he's possibly overheating those tires, or maybe just not using enough traction control if that would be available.
Yeah, Gillis Hammond as well, getting close to the back of Ultimate K's, but too wide between Kunisek and Wild Mammoth.
And Mammoth sending it up the inside. Very clean overtake, not going wide at all, and Kunisek sliding right back into that slipstream, although taking a very different line out of the final corner. Does not seem like he's got an opportunity into turn 1, though. He had a bit of a sniff, but yeah, turn 1 not the best place for overtaking. It's usually better to keep it into the slipstream and shoot it up into the inside of turn 2 or 3.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, yeah, it's quite easy to make a move here since it's such a sharp and a hard braking zone.
I'll tell you what else is hard. It is the fact that, well, Thomas' race was hard because he has in fact quit the race tonight, so he has left the session. Down to 19 drivers.
Very unfortunate for him as that Scuderia Condor off into the barrier.
As I can finally focus on his car. Does not look too damaged, but yeah, he is not having the best race tonight. Had a decent start, but losing positions and making contact with the barrier. Seems like he's not quite one for wet conditions.
I mean, for me, his front lights are broken, so...
Wait, are they?
Yeah, I mean, his rear lights are on, but his front lights just don't seem to be working, so I'm hoping that is a... an error on my side of the game, and hopefully he does have lights, because in these conditions it's going to be so hard to see.
Yeah, so, on my screen he does have lights, but that is strange if he doesn't on yours, so that seems like a bit of a desync issue.
Indeed, as... let's see if any close battles. Eddie
Mammoth
versus...
starting to catch Eddie.
Eddie versus Mammoth. Mammoth faking a move down the inside and in fact leaving themselves a bit compromised there.
And I think this is supposed to be a close battle between Cuckoo and Jedlin, but that gap does not seem to be 1/10 of a second. I think the game is lying to us.
Yeah,
as Gillish has actually really started to catch up to Kaiser now. I think Kaiser may have made some sort of mistake.
Now, remember lap 1 where Gillis was behind Ultimate K's going through this corner, and I wonder, is something similar gonna happen? Gillis, once again, looking down the inside and braking later than Ultimate K's, but Ultimate K's are still keeping his line, but this time no contact. And no incident.
No contact, just lots and lots of spray in Gillish's face, but we do know he enjoys a good battle, so... the longer this goes on, I imagine the happier he will be as he improves on his PB by just over 0.2. But Veilside and Mats in P1 and 2, they are pulling away.
Yeah, I mean, Mats, understandably, but Veilside didn't seem like he was having the best of a qualifying, but doing a great job getting into that P2. But pretty much everyone behind him, Ultimate K's, and Gillis Homan setting both faster lap times, almost 0.5 faster. So if these two decide they want to work together to gain on Veilside, or if Gillis thinks he's a lot faster and could go for Gillis towards the end, as Ellie staying behind and potentially looking for a better exit, which they do, as Exus trying to defend off that inside line, but Ellie getting the run off the corner. They're going to have the inside for corner 3, but I think that Mercedes just having that top speed, able to keep it ahead.
Exactly, as Kaiser for now keeping it ahead of Gillish as well. That Mercedes power unit definitely proving to be pretty good on the straights and hard to overtake, even with a bad exit, because I think both Binding and Exus were a bit compromised there, as Fennec unfortunately now into the pits for what is most certainly not going to be a strategic pit stop.
Yeah.
And I think I saw Max and Xevious going at it as well, so let's take a look at these two.
Yeah, you did indeed. It looked like Xevious might have made a move, or whether Max is on the attack. We'll have to find out, but Xevious here is going to have a nice run coming up the coming up one of the straights. I think Max is gotta try and get a lot of his time through the corners.
As the game once again lying to us, this time saying that Cuckoo is ahead of Trouble while they are in fact behind Trouble. Wonderful stuff. Cuckoo though does improve on their personal best lap, albeit just a tiny bit of time, so that could very well have been due to a handy bit of slipstream. But now Xevious getting overtaken by Max into turn 1, but Xevious with that Mercedes car, is he going to be able to power by Max on the straight?
Xevious moving to the left-hand side.
Now down to the right.
I think he might have tried to sell him a dummy. He's got the inside line. Has he overcooked it? Oh, there's contact between both drivers. And that looked as if Max just turned in on Xevious.
Yeah, it's a little bit similar to the Hamilton-Rosberg incident in that corner. However, I think with just a little bit more patience there in this case, Max could have definitely let Xevious take that corner and potentially try to get a switchback there. But yeah, unfortunately, they kind of got stuck together, and it's cost them both dearly. They've now been overtaken by Ellie. Actually, no, Max has started to retake some of these positions already.
This 4-car battle, so this could be a potential safety car if an incident happens here. So for those who voted yes, are going to be hoping that there's going to be a crash, and for those who voted no, are going to be absolutely scared to vote. Down the inside goes Ellie on Exus, and that was quite the simple move.
As Condor practically pushing Xevious through this corner, it seems like he may have regained a little bit of confidence in that car after his earlier incidents.
Yeah, and I'm hoping the wing on his back isn't as wonky on your screen as it is on mine. Oh.
No, his wing is very much straight on my screen. Just up ahead, though, I'm going to check for any side-by-side action. I don't think we're seeing any of it, so going back to Condor then, looking to see if he can send it down the inside of turn 3. No, he decides to go for a better exit instead. And just up ahead, I think that is Ellie with a pretty horrible exit themselves. Xevious not much better, but that does mean that Exus now
and
gets
that's a mistake by someone. I think that could have been a mistake by Ellie. And that's allowed Condor and Xevious to get by.
Yeah, so another mistake after that bad exit. Luckily, though, keeping it going in the right direction at the very least, so staying ahead of Trickster in the process. The game says Fennec is 9 minutes behind the rest. I don't quite think that's true. Might be a slight exaggeration from AMS.
Yeah, I mean, with this rain and storm conditions clearly messing up with the telemetries. Yeah, so
3, still able to keep Gillish behind him, and it doesn't seem like he's going to succumb to this pressure anytime soon. And, side-by-side here between Eddie and Mammoth for P5. Svi trying to pick up the P, but he's almost having to pick up his own car. He barely recovers from that one, but it has cost him quite a bit of time, as we're going to keep our eyes on this side-by-side fight for P5.
Yeah, Mammoth with the inside, Eddie stuck on the outside, but he's kept it alongside and is going to have that essential outside grip.
What an exit. That was a lot faster than what Mammoth was able to cook up there.
Yeah, getting turned out. Bit soggy out there, innit? A bit soggy would probably be the biggest underestimation I think I've ever heard. It is absolutely storming. Quite literally, because the conditions are storm, rain, storm. So,
meanwhile, there's a whole gaggle of cars coming into sector. I mean, this around about this place has got to be sector 2. But yeah, just up ahead, Xevious and Exus side by side. Ellie looking to get an opportunity in this situation, but it is hard to make an overtake around the outside here.
Oh, and there's contact between the two drivers of Ellie and Exus.
And Ellie is off the track. Potentially with damage after that pretty significant tap there. I did say it's hard to overtake there, but you don't typically have incidents that bad over there, as I think that's another person off. It's Condor. So a lot of people struggling with track limits, but the gravel doing its job, so I don't think we'll be seeing too many track limits violations in those corners.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think that's Max.
It is. So Max also struggling in these conditions, although I think he's shown fairly decent pace so far. just struggling with that consistency as, yeah, I think Fennec no longer exists according to whoever's keeping the time, because now it says he's 11 minutes behind.
Well, on my timing sheets, he is also, yeah, completely bugged. So hopefully we'll still be able to work out where he is. As, yeah, someone asking what the pit strategy is going to look like. And, I mean, the ideal pit strategy for tonight is obviously going to be a one-stop. And I'm going to be guessing for tyres, since tyres do deteriorate a bit worse than normal. And,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we could well see a one-stop as we usually have, but there's some people that do tend to opt for no fresh tires. And if they're able to do that, who knows? We could end up with another no-stop like we saw at the start of the season as well.
Yeah, and looking at these timing, Veilside seems to have picked up the pace from Ultimate K's and Gillis Holman. Originally, these two were gaining on Veilside up ahead.
Were they?
Yeah, but they've been doing slower lap times now by about 5/10. So originally they were... Oh, that's Gillis down the inside.
That's a very late send. And he's not got the traction to back it up just yet, so he's going to have to slip back into Keiza's slipstream. I'm sure that move is going to have woken up Keiza significantly, so expect to see some inside line defending. Apparently not in this corner, though.
I mean, inside line defending is good, but I think if someone dives you as that far, you might as well take the outside line still, and you've got that outside grip and momentum compared to that driver who's on the inside. So defending here is going to be quite the interesting strategy, whether you want to defend that inside line,
Yeah,
or whether you want to keep that outside line and hope that you get the momentum out the corner.
I don't know. I think the outside's a little overrated, especially in these kinds of conditions, because you're already going to have less grip around the outside than you would usually have. And generally parking it on the apex is a valid strategy, but he sends it again! Because Keiza left that door open and now he's been shoved off the track. That is looking a little bit like a push-to-pass move. I don't think Keiza's going to be too happy about that.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it looked like, yeah, Keiza flashing his lights there. Yeah, that looked very, very aggressive indeed. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ultimate Keiza put a ticket for the stewards to look at that later.
As his teammate Eddie has now come into the pits. Looks like Keiza might already have another opportunity to take back that position from Gillish, though.
Both cars going a bit wide, but Gillis going off track completely. And Ultimate Keiza having the run on Gillis, has the inside line coming into the third unofficial corner, my third corner. Ultimate K's has that inside line, but Gillis is going to have the momentum off the corner. A bit more rubbing between these two as they head now into the fifth corner. I'm going to go with that. Ultimate K's doesn't have the inside line, but could try a cutback, but I think Gillis able to just hold that in front of Ultimate K's.
Yeah, thrilling fight for the final podium position so far. It's going to be interesting to see how much time they lose by doing this, because the lap times, of course, still coming from the previous lap, so we'll just have to wait and see how much that gap to Veilside is going to be growing. But yeah, the gap between Veilside and his own teammate is definitely growing as well, because Matt's just set a 31.8, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, the 31s, that's quality pace right there.
And as the lap times update now, Gillish and Keiza, yeah, they're about a second off on that occasion, so the harder they fight, I'm sure the longer that gap is going to get. But they are quite safe from Mammoth down in P5, who, despite not being involved in any battles, is not going much faster, and with those lines, he won't be either.
Yeah, I mean, going out onto those outside, off the track and going wide, I mean, there's got to be so much water there, and that's just gonna make your tires spin even further. Unisec getting extremely close to the back of whoever that was.
Yeah, that would be Kunisek fighting with Cuckoo and Trouble for P6, but Yeah, we're seeing a decent amount of people coming into the pits now. I wonder if that is because the tires really are degrading that quickly.
So yeah, we might see a two-stop then come into play if people are pitting on around lap 15.
Yeah, Fennec, though, still in last place according to my timesheet, 16.5 minutes off the pace. I mean, we can take a look at him, but I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's involved in any fights. As Gillish starts to pull away ever so slightly from Keza, so you never know. Maybe this controversial overtake by Gillish could change up Keza's strategy a bit. Because Keza might be thinking that he's fighting Gillish rather than Veilside up ahead.
Yeah.
They're getting blue flags now, so some of the cars that just pitted are going to be coming out right ahead of these guys. And Kunisek deciding to pit out of that battle with Cuckoo and I think that was Trouble, so that looks like these guys have really completely split apart since we last saw them. Max is only about 3/10 behind Exus, but definitely not close enough for a move just yet. And just look at how much curb Keza was taking there as well. That's a lot on both entry and exit.
I mean, maybe he's using the inside curb to help rotate. Damn, that's a big puddle. What you saw pass on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand using the inside curb, but you'd think the outside curb would just be incredibly slippery, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with your logic there. I mean, there's probably a bit of grip in it, and if that's the racing line, there's probably going to be a bit less standing water there. So that could help with grip, but yeah, not too many people though, yeah, taking that curb. So yeah, I would expect that to be a bit more slippery, but maybe just finding the momentum and just trying to utilize the whole track.
And speaking of standing water as well, I must say, these are stormy conditions and rain throughout the session. If this had been PC2, there would have been a lot more water on the track. I think they kind of toned it down for this game.
Yeah, I mean, puddles, the puddles in PC2, those weren't puddles, those were landmines.
They were sea mines in this boat, get it right.
I mean, with weather like this, it'd be easier to drive a boat around than these cars.
Pretty much, as I think the game just said that Trouble overtook Jedlin, but I thought he was already ahead. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Either way, though, lots of people have done their pit stop now, including Svi, and he should have some of the quickest pace out there, so we'll see when he comes back out if he slices his way back up through the field or not. But yeah, currently down in 13th, while the rest are still up on those original tires with whatever fuel loads they are running.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be hitting the halfway mark through the session soon in about 3 or 4 laps time. So whether some people have decided to pit that early might be looking for a two-stopper, or whether they've just decided to pit super early and accidentally worn out their tires while fighting with other cars in battles.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't seem like any of the front runners are really holding back their pace, so I do think it is unlikely that they're going to stay on the same set of tires, especially with all these people pitting so early, what presumably is for fresh tires.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven a couple times on wet tires, and ever since the update, not only have the slicks become a lot harder to drive, in the fact that you can lose so much tire wear so quickly, especially with 2 times tire wear on. But on top of that, the wet, if you have one lockup, they could just disappear within an instant. So a lot of these drivers are going to be trying to just manage their tires, not get into too many battles, and just trying to make it towards their pit stop.
As we're now on board with Xevious in what is most likely P18, as he's chasing down Max in 17th position. The cars around them, I believe, are mostly lapped cars or lapping cars, but Exus is not too far ahead of them, so this could be a three-way fight soon enough. Keep an eye out on Ellie and Trickster as well, as they're not too far apart themselves.
The Max going a bit wide there. That's going to allow Exevius to gain a bit.
And is it just me, or has Cuckoo's been gaining on Mammoth in P5, so that could become pretty interesting. Mammoth's last lap of 34.2, Cuckoo was 33.3. Let's see what it is on this occasion. Yeah, so both a bit slower, but Cuckoo still catching Mammoth. So Mammoth potentially having chewed through what the best phase was of that tire already.
I mean, Cuckoo there going about a second and almost 2 seconds slower than their PB, showing not only is the rain getting worse, but the tire wear as well is also getting worse too. So whether we're going to see Cuckoo pit later and try to quicken up their laps and get that time back, we will see hopefully in the next 2 or 3 laps.
As Cuckoo gets ever closer to Mammoth for that P5 position. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting though. Like if you look at Matt's pace, he's still setting flat 32, so his tires seem to be doing just fine, despite how hard he seems to have been pushing them with that kind of pace. And if I'm not mistaken, ooh, yes, Gillish is actually really starting to get close to Gillish.
That looked like a small mistake there from Mammoth, and that's allowed Cuckoo to massively close up on them. Mammoth going defensive into this corner. Cuckoo taking the normal line and going all the way around the outsiders. I think Mammoth, in fact, actually pitting.
Just as Keza, so Keza looking to get the undercut on Gillish there after he noticed that Gillish was speeding up and he was starting to stagnate with that pace. So going to be very interesting to see where and when these guys come in and out of the pit lane. Just double checking on this fight though. Seems like Exus has gone wide, so that puts him right back into this fight. I was just about to say he kind of pulled away as he flies into the air, desperate to keep enough speed to stay ahead of these two, as they're going to be fighting like hell for what is effectively P16.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier, how Exevius was just slowly making gains on Max, and now it's his time to overtake him. He's got to just try and look for the momentum out of the corner, because you won't see too many successful dives on a wet track. It's mostly going to be about exit, especially in the Mercedes, where it's got more horsepower, more straight line speed. Exevius is going to be hoping that he can get a better exit than Max.
Yeah, I mean, that Mercedes car definitely built very much with a Ferrari-esque philosophy, as in aerodynamics are for people who can't build good engines. But yeah, Exevius still in P18 at the moment. The leader, though, Matt, has come into the pits.
That's going to be our new...
Gillish now into the lead.
New race leader, Gillis Homan.
And just double checking on K's as well. He's currently in P8, going through the middle sector at the moment.
Ultimate K is already pitting, so looks like he isn't going to come anywhere close to Matt's.
As Matt's now gets to the outside section of T1, Keza not closed the 17-second gap, but
yeah, he just cut out there for a bit. Once again, Discord messing with us once again.
Yeah, I think Discord's trying to commentators curse the commentators.
Oh, I mean, we've done how many now? Too many, I think, would be the answer, and it's only round 3, so we could be on to potentially break our record, but for this season, I think it'll be just below. That's what I'm gonna guess for the commentator curse record.
Now, Ellie has made it up into P9, but I don't believe that they've pitted yet. And
Discord once again cuts off Martin.
Coming in on this occasion either. And Mats came out just ahead of Trouble, which pretty much puts him in free air for quite some time. So Matt is very much set. Veilside, though, he's going to have to work his way past Binding, Jetlin, and Trouble unless they decide to pit before he gets to them. Also, I think Case has actually gained significantly on Veilside with his earlier pit stop.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be wrong, and I think he's gained quite significantly. Veilside, I believe, was about 6 seconds down the road. He's now 3 seconds down the road to Ultimate Case. But someone who's gonna be sniffing someone else's rear is Condor. Oh my!
That's a curse. That is very
oh
much
my
a curse.
god! I didn't mean it that seriously, Condor. Condor
He's slowing down a lot, though. Is he? Oh, well, his car was crabbing very strongly for a brief period of time, but I think he's gotten it under control again. That seemed to be some strange physics there, but yeah, he's lost a lot of time with whatever the heck that was. And we can definitely add that curse to the counter for sure. As Binding and Jetlin now preparing to exit the pits after their pit stops. They're going to come out just behind Cuckoo, it seems. But yeah, I just gotta regather where we were before that crazy incident. Ellie getting quite close to Trickster in P6. I believe both of these have not pitted yet either. So Mammoth, about 10 seconds down the road, not going to catch these guys before they pit, I do not think.
Yeah, it was, I think does Kunisek have a damaged car?
I don't know, but Jetlin's off the track. And just gonna double check on Kuni now, see if they have any visible damage. Not on my end.
Okay, on my end, their front left light. What is it up with the people's front lights slowly disappearing on my screen?
Definitely
yeah.
sounds like they're trying to cut costs on the electricity and the batteries.
Well, you gotta get every sort of power you can get in that Nissan, so I don't blame it. As a Trouble pits from P4, where's he gonna come out?
Also, Ellie has passed Trickster because Trickster is now pitting themselves. That's an easy overtake for Ellie, but probably not going to last much longer out there. I think they're one of the only ones who have not pitted yet. Skunisek still chasing down Eddie and not coming into the pits. So if they do have damage, it's probably not going to be anything too serious.
Yeah. Eddie and Svi very close. Svi's last lap was a 1:43. This time though 10 seconds quicker with a 33, so getting away from Eddie that lap. But Svi is definitely gonna be feeling the pressure from the controller driver.
Yeah, I mean it's remarkable that they're this far down the grid, considering their earlier pace. I mean, we've got Binding, Trouble, Cuckoo, they all came out ahead after their pit stops. So, oh, that's a very nice drift there from Eddie. Puts him very close to Svi. And actually, looks like he might be able to get a move done on this straight, but decides to touch some grass for no apparent reason.
Yeah, the grass touching is a big no-no.
In the gaming community.
Not only in AMS, but in the whole of gaming. But, no, that...
We have lost another driver, by the way. We're down to 18.
No! Hope that they didn't have too many issues as Eddie goes a bit wide there.
Yeah, I definitely think this fight could get pretty spicy, as both these drivers known for making mistakes in these cars, it seems. I mean, Svi used to be out in front fairly regularly, but in these cars it seems like he's been struggling. So even with the good pace he's shown tonight, he's not where he should be, as he's completely gone off the track and giving that position to Eddie on a silver platter. Easy as you like for the controller driver.
Eddie up into P11. I wonder, will Svi get... It looks like he's looking for some sort of momentum off the corner. He's in a slipstream, but Eddie seems to be surprisingly quick on the straight compared to Svi.
Who knows what he's done to the setup of that car, as they both seem to nail their braking point. Let's see what they can do on exit. A lot more rotation in early from Eddie. And Svi having to do that a bit later and kind of spinning his wheels a bit too much there, as Gillish now pitting from the lead. He's going to come out miles behind Mats and potentially behind Veilside and Kays. We'll just have to wait and see how that turns up. But yeah, this is a very lengthy pit stop indeed.
Yeah, 100% that's changing tyres. If it isn't, then he's messed up something with the repairing. But yeah, he's just leaving the pit lane now. And, I mean, no, surely you wouldn't do... Yeah, as he comes out in P4. Ellie and...
Just ahead of Ellie, and I think that probably might actually make Ellie one of the... maybe the only driver to not have pitted yet, unless they pitted earlier and I did not spot it. But yeah, Gillish losing out big time to Keza so far. However, this race is far from over. Potentially fresh tires could end up making a big difference, as we saw last week as well.
And he goes wide and off the track.
Yeah, if they've not pitted for any fresh tires yet, that does make a lot of sense. But Mammoth pretty much does the same thing, which could bring Cuckoo a little bit closer.
Also, the Nissan sounds so quiet compared to any of the other cars. You got the roaring BMW engine in that McLaren. You've got the roaring Mercedes engine, and of course as well the roaring Porsche engine. And
yeah, I
then
mean,
you
the
just
Nissan
got...
sounds more like it has a zoom rather than a roar.
Yeah, and then you just got the little Nissan. Probably what is the most underpowered thing in the out of the 4 GT1s, and doing a good job in P7 is Cuckoo.
Exactly, as we're gonna go ahead and check out our leader. Matt's leading this race pretty much uncontested yet again, by 21 seconds from his teammate. I don't think Veilside's gonna do a miraculous catch-up like he did on the previous occasion, but it does look like they are well set to do a 1-2, as Kays is starting to drop off again from Veilside, so that pace...
Guinness also going wide into that corner.
Yeah, I hope he's not doing that too much, because that is definitely against the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he would be gaining any time as well.
Oh, absolutely. If you go wide on this track, you are gaining time unless you are touching gravel. This track is kind of known for extending lines, and that's why in F1, I think they had the record for most track limit incidents around here.
Well, that was
over
just
1,000.
That was just Esteban on his own. As
Svi now coming into the pits yet again, that cannot be good.
Being asked where's Lewis, and I cannot see where Lewis is. I don't think Lewis has joined this event, or maybe he was one of the drivers that unfortunately disconnected.
Yeah, let's give you guys a quick rundown on who is where on lap 20. Well, it says 27, that is including the formation lap, so this is in fact lap 26, realistically. Matt's leading this race in P1. I mean, where else would he be leading it from? His teammate Veilside in P2, doing quite well as well. Keza holding the fort down in P3, but for how much longer? Because Gillish in 4th on what is looking to be a very rapid car, setting 131.3s. That's almost Matt's pace, catching Keza by over a second a lap. Ellie in P5, presumably hasn't pit yet, but still in a pretty good position nonetheless. Mammoth not too far behind in 6th, followed by Cuckoo close behind. Jedlin a bit further down, and he's actually fighting with Trouble at the moment. And Trouble and Binding aren't too far apart either, so it looks like these guys could swap positions sooner rather than later. Eddie is a little bit further behind them in 11th, followed by Kunyasek, Trixer, Condor, Exus, Xevious, Svi still in the pits, and Fennec, who is 32 minutes behind.
Now, once again, I'm not seeing any front lights. In fact, the whole front of Fennec's car looks completely destroyed. I'm hoping that's not on your screen.
That is, unfortunately, very much is on my screen.
So
So I
that-
think Fennec's having a horrid race.
Yeah, that could be damage, and the reason why some people are trying to get past him now.
I mean, he doesn't really seem to be understeering too much. So I'm thinking this probably is fake damage, but either way, he was really, really far behind after the first 2 laps, so I don't think he's going to be getting too many points tonight. Now looking at Mammoth, who has gained massively on Ellie in the last few laps.
Looks for that inside move, doesn't commit with it.
Wait, where's Ellie?
Oh, Ellie went
Looks like-
wide.
Yeah, Ellie went very wide. I couldn't see them at all in that previous camera angle. As, yeah, makes it quite easy for Mammoth. Next up to put Ellie on the chopping block is going to be Cuckoo.
Yeah, it's going to be quite hard for Cuckoo to overtake on the straights. They're definitely going to be looking for an... Ellie hasn't pitted, right?
I don't think so.
We'll have to check at the end, but I mean, surely they can't do this entire race on the same set of wets.
They would be doing an absolute Gillish plus, but looks like they're going to the outside now and relinquishing that position to Cuckoo, so not fighting this one too hard. Maybe trying to preserve what little tires they got left, but yeah. Fairly standard overtake there for Cuckoo, puts them up into P6.
Yeah.
Next down the line is Jedlin, but that's about a 10-second gap to him.
Binding up in P10, probably to Tokugawa's, the Tokugawa's, the light.
As Xevious now going for what I assume is a second pit stop as well. So, interesting strategy there. I think if people are two-stopping, this is probably going to be around about the time that they actually do go for it. And it does seem now like Mats has decided to speed up even more, setting 1:30.9s.
Slow down, man. Slow down, otherwise MSR are going to have to create their own bop tier list just for you.
Yeah, he's starting to tear apart the fabric of the space-time continuum with those kinds of laps. I mean, he's significantly faster than anyone else on the track except for Gillish at the moment, but Gillish, even with that pace, is half a minute behind Mats. I'll tell you who he's not half a minute behind, though. That would be Keza just up the road. I think these guys are going to come together very, very soon, and Keza's going to have a lot harder of a time to defend that one with the tires that he's currently on.
Yeah, Ultimate K's was originally 3 seconds behind, is now 7 seconds behind Veilside, and yeah, being caught by Gillis Homan, which you can see his lights in the background. So we're definitely going to see these two fight closer towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think this may be the first battle that we see reconverge, as the field has spread out quite a bit at this point. We're on lap 30 of 41, so that's 29 out of 40 if you don't count the formation lap, so still about 10 laps left to go. Plenty of action left, but these are quick fire laps, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled on the screen and not on the floor.
Oh, and that's a spun back marker.
Oh, I think that was contact with Gillish. If that gave him damage, that could well put an extra twist into this battle for P3 in this race. Who was that?
I think that was Exus.
Yeah, Exus not being too far behind them, so his car does look fine, so maybe the damage not too bad, but a little bit of an embarrassing moment there.
I mean, yeah, looking into the official third corner, I think Exus just got on the throttle a bit too early, lost the rear end, and Ultimate K is able to get down the inside, but I think Gillis just had broke a bit late and was already going a bit wide, so had to go even wider to try and avoid Exus there.
Yeah, I really am starting to think that rain in racing games is a bit like portions of French fries in what we would call a friture in Belgium, because what we're seeing here in the thunderstorm conditions, the amount of water on track would be light rain in PC2. And I feel like it's the same with those French fry places I was talking about, because in some places you order a small, and you get this absolutely massive thing of fries, and in other places you get a small, and it's barely enough for a meal.
Yeah, I mean, it's like comparing American portions to European portions. I mean, I agree. Right now, it looks like there isn't that much rain, but remember, Automobilista does have that thing where it can lighten and make the rain heavier and lighter a bit more randomly, so it adds a bit more of a human feel to it.
Oh, we've just lost another driver. Not entirely sure who, but yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed it in the previous corner either, but Gillish utilizing a lot more grip in those tires than Keza was. And I'm not sure if that's due to Keza's tire wear or just different lines, but it's gaining him loads of time and does show you where Keza may be lacking in pace as he's really tiptoeing through this corner.
Yeah, and with 10 laps remaining, Gillis is all over the back of Ultimate K, so I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when is Gillis going to overtake. Ultimate K does have, is quite the experienced driver, and does have quite a good defense, but I think Gillis is going to be one to try and make a move. Is extremely close. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dive by Gillis. We've seen Gillis dive multiple times on Ultimate K's, and he's trying it now. Contact again between.
Yeah, that is just too optimistic there, Gillis. That is. I was gonna say, because I still think Keza probably should have covered off the inside on those earlier attempts, but turn 1 is probably the one corner where I wouldn't defend the inside, and Gillis just there demonstrated why, because if you actually try and go for it, it usually ends in an incident because you're not actually close enough to go for a move there, as he demonstrated. So Keza stays ahead in P3 for now, but yeah, he's gonna have to be very wary of the driver behind, because Gillis is impatient tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with him and with these two before, where Gillis has been behind, but it's just made the move too late. Just he needs to be that ever so slight inch closer, and he's just a bit too optimistic, and he's just wanting them to give the line away. And of course, Ultimate K is just sticking to his line. And
did you see Ellie just lose the back end on a straight? I think those tires are absolutely shot. Their last lap was a 1:38. That is 6 seconds a lap slower than the people around them. I think Ellie's tires are absolutely cooked at this point.
I mean, they've done an amazing job so far, keeping them intact. As Gillis once again on the back of Ultimate K's. Is he close enough to look for another lunge here? I don't think he is. They head round the first corner. Gillis not looking for the lunge, might now have a run on Ultimate K's going into the third corner. So as we go through the second corner, which is absolutely BS, we head into this hard braking zone. No lunge from Gillis, but
seems to be a little bit calmer on this occasion, and once again utilizing more of that traction than Keza is, and I think Keza losing time on the gear shifts there. That's what that seems to be.
I don't.
Or is that just desync?
That looks like massive. I mean, it might have been that, but I don't think that Keza has that much VTEC in his car. That's for sure. I think there was a bit of rubber banding there.
Speaking of rubber banding, I think both Binding and Trouble have now made their way by Ellie as well. So that is another position lost. Last lap at 37. So a little bit better than the previous lap, but yeah, still losing absolute boatloads of time. I think Ellie's committed to the strategy, but I don't think it's going to work.
Gillis, though, still extremely close. Ultimate K's keeping that defensive water as Gillis goes for the move on the inside, and that's once again both cars off the track, and Ultimate K's being pushed around that corner for the second time. Gillis just he's very pushy and shovey today, isn't he?
I mean, I kind of feel like there's a target on Keza's car at this point, and he's hyper-focused on it, but yeah, I think even Gillis realized that it was a little bit overboard on that one, and he slowed down to make sure that he did not gain anything from that, so Keza stays ahead for now. But yeah, that was pretty much the same incident we saw earlier, but even more extreme. As Exus comes into the pits, I think he was fighting with Xevious, Not sure if they made contact, but yeah, that's leaving him way behind his competitor now, and down in P16. Now, it does seem like... Yeah, I don't know, it just keeps on happening on this straight. It's like Keza loses a lot of time on the beginning of it, and he gains a lot at the end of it, so maybe it's just something in his gearing?
I mean, possibly. I mean, maybe Kaiser running a bit less downforce than Gillis, and that may be the reason why he's losing so much time for on that straight.
Trouble being extremely cautious while fighting Binding there. I think that was a prime opportunity to go for a move, but he decides against it, waiting for maybe, I guess, a bit of a safer place to try and go for an overtake on Binding. But yeah, these two pretty close together, and they don't seem to be as cutthroat as these guys here fighting for P3.
Gillis
Boy, Kaza's got absolutely no exit speed out of turn 1.
Defends the inside line, knowing Gillis might try to shove it up his inside. That sounds extremely wrong out of context.
And he's decided to switch for the outside now, which is quite optimistic considering what we've seen so far. But Gillis there going for that inside curb line. Not quite getting as much traction as on the other lap, so I think Hayes is set for now, but he's going to have to watch out for the rest of the lap because it's pretty unpredictable to say when Gillis is going to go for a lunge.
Yeah, Gillis though, so far this lap hasn't gone for any lunges on Ultimate K's, and with 6 laps remaining, who would have guessed that Ultimate K's would have kept him behind so long? But yeah, Gillis really trying to get past.
As Ellie now shipping another position, this time to Eddie for P10, so Ellie drops out of the top 10. Gives that position to Ellie, but a lot of people going wide here, and I think one of these has got to be Veilside or Mats. It is Mats. Mats is getting caught up in this mess, and I think that's Ellie losing control. Oh, yeah, I think that was a bit of wall contact there, but quickly gonna double check on these guys because they're still really, really close. Lots happening in this race, just a couple laps left to go. So Gillish not going for that inside move into turn 1. He's learned his lesson in that corner, I think. Just going to double check on these two as well. Trouble not as close to Binding as he was before. And I don't think Gillish is close enough for a lunge on this occasion either, as they do approach some lapped traffic. Now, Nismo, you've been quiet for a while. What are you thinking about?
Just admiring this battle here. As yeah, Gillis just can't seem to get that run, that momentum that he needs on Ultimate K's. I think Ultimate K's, from the looks of it, he's been running a lower downforce setups. There are areas that Gillis is faster in. I would bring up like the F1 chart, you know, of the quali where it shows where people are faster, especially through this third/second sector, where most of the corners are. Gillis is gaining so much more time, but when it comes to these small straights and the longer straights, Ultimate K's are just able to keep the car in front, keep the momentum going. As yeah, Gillis almost looking for a move into that corner
again. So that could have been a potential third incident in the same corner, but he decides against it, having trial and error that one on many an occasion already. I wonder if he's just kind of chewed through his tires at this point, because I was expecting him to breeze past Keza. Keza's clearly still got no traction in those tires, and yet somehow Gillis is still behind. What the? Well, I guess that confirms that the rubber banding is most definitely caused by desync, but that was Code Brown.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Gillis, I would be questioning the laws of physics right now. That was... If it wasn't hard enough to overtake Ultimate K, he's got to overtake him with a rubber band defense.
And I think Ellie here experiencing a very much snapped rubber band, as that's now another position shipped to Trickster. So Ellie down to P13. Just a couple laps left to go. If they haven't pitted, they've most definitely tried the Gillis strategy, but now side by side for P8 between Trouble and Binding. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, we've actually missed the overtake for P3. The 1 second that we look away from these guys. Anyway, back to this fight. I think Binding may still be able to fight back. No, never mind. Oh, that is massively unfortunate. Can't really commentate on this move since I don't know how it happened, but one can only assume that Keza did not keep the door closed.
Yeah, I mean, Gillis normally trying to chuck it down the inside, and yeah, probably got the move, or maybe Ultimate K is not getting the exit as we see Ellie pit, and I'm gonna guess that's not for tires, but is gonna be for fuel.
This kind of reminds me of that one time when someone kept driving around this track without their wing back in the PC2 days. And after many laps driving around with a broken car, they finally came into the pits when it was way too late.
Who was that? Because someone made a clip of it. I remember that. Yeah. I think I labeled it.
We have a rematch on our hands. Gillis has gone too deep.
And now we can finally watch this this battle unfold. 3 laps. We can finally watch the overtake between Gillis and Ultimate K's. Or will Ultimate K's be able to defend over these 3 laps? All of a sudden, everything's got quite exciting again between these two.
I mean, what a stand-up guy. He just felt sorry for us missing that overtake. We had so much build-up to that moment for the P3 fight. We just completely missed it, and he's given it back to us. So yeah, definitely gonna have to thank him after this race for that. But yeah, definitely an exciting fight for these last 3 laps for the podium positions. I think the top 2, we've got those pretty much locked down. I think Metz is gonna win this with Veilside, his teammate, in P2. So yeah, looking really great for the constructors there on their end. And Keza managing to keep that gap that he had at the start of this lap, well, when Gillish made a mistake, and keep it that way. So Gillish not able to catch Keza just yet. Really shows that his tires might be shot after that.
Yeah, maybe looking up, and that could have definitely caused some damage to the tires. Almost losing it, in fact.
Pushing it.
As in the chat, the Tukugawa says #justice for K's, and justice could turn into a podium. And like Batman saying it, justice could turn it. I can't do the accent. But yeah.
Again, looking to extend that gap in the middle of the straight. That seems to be a regular thing here, which is quite odd if this is really rubber banding, if it's always in the same spot. But yeah, I think Gillish may well get close enough for a lunge in the final 2 laps of this race. Just have to wait and see there. But yeah, we're seeing some comments in the chat. Great race for Cuckoo and Binding so far. I would have to agree. But
Ultimate K is making a mistake.
Yeah, stays ahead though. Cuckoo has been having a good but lonely race, and Binding, I'm sure he's going to tell us a lot about that fight with Trouble afterwards. But yeah, Keza really going slow in this corner again. Blue flags for the car up ahead. Hopefully they'll get out of the way before the corner.
Yeah, Scuderia Condor being a lapped car could decide whether Ultimate K's or Gillis gets onto the podium if he doesn't get out the way in time.
Oh, also, I think Jedlin might have had a spin because he was right close to Binding, but we're not going to look at that. We're going to keep our eyes on this fight for P3, not making that same mistake twice. Gillish going around the outside of turn 1. That's going to become a switchback, though he stays in the slipstream for now.
Yeah, Ultimate K's, we've seen him defend the inside line for the now 2nd time. Every time the attack's been made on him, he hasn't defended it, and that's Gillis looking for that inside. No, he's decided to just hang back and try get that better exit. As we see Condor letting them go by, and if these two aren't careful as well, you can see those lights. Those lights in the background aren't Scuderia Condors, as we see no more contact between Gillis and Ultimate K's. Ultimate K's on the outside, Gillis on the inside, and Gillis very much...
Ooh! as K's almost completely losing the back end there and keeping the car on track, but losing that position to Gillish. And now under threat from Mammoth, who's been silently approaching these guys for quite some time now. I was about to say the stakes have been raised because any mistake could lead to Mammoth taking a shock podium. But yeah, Keza presumably not going to be too happy with that one because, as per usual, Gillish with the very aggressive moves. But, I mean, how many times do you need to get lunged up the inside to finally start defending that inside line? I just don't get it. Yeah, we're going into the final lap now. Matt's halfway through it already. Half a minute ahead of his teammate and almost a full minute ahead of that podium fight. As it does seem like these positions are set in stone, barring any major mistakes. Gillish has gapped Keza significantly. So unless he makes another mistake into this very corner, like he did earlier, he could well have this position down until a stewards meeting, but yeah, keeps that under control for now.
Ultimate K's very much being trailed by Wild Mammoth.
Ooh.
And Binding being trailed by Trouble.
Yeah, Binding's re-overtaken Trouble, so that's another one we've missed, as Mats now does come home to win the race once again. Very, very strong season for him so far.
By about
Teammate
27.
not too far behind.
27 seconds, he's won it by. Absolutely masterclass.
Exactly, as it seems Jedlin now fighting... Is that someone on the same lap? I can't tell. I don't think it is, so we're going to go back to these guys. Gillish gonna finish soon. Veilside's already crossed the line in P2, so congrats to him as well. Keza presumably not too happy in P4, but Mammoth is getting really, really close now with just 2 corners left to go. Is he gonna snatch this P4?
He's gonna have to look for a lunge, and Ultimate K's is gonna be making a mistake, but it looks like Ultimate K is holding onto that P4 and crossing the line, and Wild Mammoth P5. As Cuckoo cross the line.
This is really, really close.
I wonder, does Trouble look for the inside into this very fast right-hand corner?
It's gonna try and save it for the last one. They almost
there's a bit
touch.
of contact. Trouble goes wide, and I think that could be his efforts. All in vain. He's not going to be able to, but does he get the run off the corner? He's got the momentum, but I don't think he's got the run across the line. It's going to be Binding holding on to P7. And Trouble settling for P8.
He got the power down very early, but unfortunately his opponent was in a Mercedes just like him, so that does make it quite difficult to go for a move, as Eddie there having, well, enjoying his P10 finish. I think everyone else has finished, so maybe just some lapped cars left going around. And yes, Fennec being 51 minutes behind, coming across the line, probably in last place, though we're not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think you're definitely gonna have to do the readout, because I think I've got 3 desynced cars.
All right, so that means our winner tonight is Matt's VR46 with the fastest lap again. So that's yeah, quite a dominant performance in these cars. I think this may well be one of his favorite classes at this point. His teammate Veilside in P2, actually 30 seconds behind, so that was a full half minute right there. Gillish 50 seconds behind in P3, so despite the impressive pace, still 20 seconds off the closest driver ahead of him. Keza took it home to in P4, followed closely by Mammoth. Cuckoo a little bit lonely in P6, followed by Binding and Trouble in 7th and 8th after their battle. Jedlin in 9th. Eddie rounds out the top 10. My game is not scrolling. Okay, yeah, there we go. Kunisek in 11th, followed by Trixer in 12th, Condor 13th. Ellie down in 14th with a very, very late pit stop, and must be said, a pretty quick fastest lap as well, a 31.7. That's impressive stuff there. Maybe Ellie was just going for the fastest lap at the end of the race. That is very possible, considering their previous strategies in rainy races. Xevious, 2 laps down in P15. Excess, same amount of laps down in 16th. And yeah, it says Fennec finished 38 laps down, so I think it just stopped acknowledging his existence after his first pit stop.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we might get a disclose of what the official results were for Fennec. Hopefully there's been no confusion.
Ooh, and I'm just seeing now from Trouble that he did in fact lose that position due to fuel saving, and that he crossed with 0.0 left, which means when he got that power down early in the final corner, he was using every last drop that he had left.
Yeah. I mean, he could have, if he was clever, he could have defended and fuel saved, and that could have actually kept him in front. But yeah, if only 1 liter more, he would have been able to keep binding behind, I think. Let's head to the interview section. I need to update how many commentator curses there are as well.
Yes, and Fennec claiming that he can in fact explain his 38 lap deficit. I look forward to hearing that.
So, looking at the interview box, we've got Binding, Cuckoo, Fennec, and Trouble. I will let you pick out of those four and who we should bring in.
Yeah, no, we're definitely bringing in the beef havers.
Oh,
yes.
So where did we actually finish? Because I feel like I got a bit of desync and I'm not sure where I finished.
I told you, 6th and 7th.
Is that correct, Nisma, Martin?
I mean, looking on my screen, 6th and 7th, I had a bit of desync as well, but yeah, 6th and 7th would be where you finished, unless Fennec somehow finished higher up.
Weird.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit of a lonely race for you, Cuckoo, but Binding, I think we caught in a fair few fights. Binding, can you tell us a bit more about that fight with Trouble towards the end?
Trouble, he overtook me when I made a small mistake coming out of turn 1 on lap 37, 38, I believe. So I was resigned. I was like, okay. And then, as it turns out, from what he told me, he was running out of fuel, so he had to go into lean, I would presume, which is why I caught up to him so fast. When I saw I was catching him, I just went for it. He was trying to hold alongside me, but I was able to fend him off. I wasn't sure if I'd made contact with him or not, but either way.
And before that, did you get involved in any other fights as well?
It was. I don't want to say fight, as I was just trying to run my own race. Me and Cuckoo were running very similar strategies. I did witness a lot of stuff happen. I don't know who it was, but there was one time I was alongside, I can't remember who specifically, but then someone out of nowhere, I think it was whoever was replacing Escher in a Porsche, just fucking launched it down here. Yeah.
Oh, I disagree with my race being classed as lonely. That was I had to work for that.
I assume most of that was early on in the race, though, right?
Most of it, yeah. I made a mistake on lap 1, dropped me down to like 18th.
I was behind you.
Yeah, just about 18th. So I had to fight back from 18th to 6th.
So wait, was that a mistake on your own, or did you get involved in an incident with someone else?
It was a mistake on my own. I misjudged the cold brakes. I was having frame rate issues as well, so I just went deep coming down the hill, went into the gravel. And that dropped me all the way down to 18th. And then I threw my strategy out the window. I just booted the fuel onto Rich. I was like, forget the strategy. I gotta get these back. And I just went for it.
Yeah, funnily enough, I went on the last lap from 14th to 19th, I believe. So from 19th to 7th. So honestly, me and Mia seem to have had basically the same race if you want to look like results and positions.
Yeah, I think that consistency paid off tonight, so it's looking good for the points. Then I'm presuming.
I would imagine I'm still ahead of her, barely. If only because of her DC back in Hockenheim.
How many points is it worth actually though? Let's have a look.
Also, while you guys check that out, Binding, we have a question from the audience. Why are you so bad at qualifying?
Great question. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be 1 point ahead of me, Binding.
Yeah, I genuinely do not understand why I'm mediocre in qualifying. Like, I
I
feel
was a
like
bit surprised in qualifying, actually. I banged in one of my first laps, and crew chief was like, "That's pole." I was like, "What? What do you mean?"
I think I just put too much practice in the actual race strategy because I don't really do qualifying practice.
I didn't practice quali that much either, to be honest.
Well, you still beat
I
me
mean,
by quite a bit in qualifying.
It is a 40-minute race, so I mean, I guess it would be more important to get
It paid off this
I
time.
mean, I think the only person who just practices for quali is going to be Mats, because
Oh,
he
yeah.
just does quali for the entire race.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I was I was so close to fighting Mammoth at points in that race.
But so we actually have seen a fair number of incidents between multiple people. You guys have already mentioned that you made some mistakes yourselves. Did you get into any altercations with drivers as well?
Little bit.
I lightly tapped Trouble when he was down. I think it was my out. It was even my it was my inside in the chicane. Not the. Why am I thinking of chicane? The track completely. The hairpin. When we was fighting, I think that was when I overtook him completely.
Oh, so we can get an overtaking with contact and failing to wait. You heard it here first, Trouble.
I'm not entirely sure. There was like a very light tap, and I didn't pass him because of
Yeah,
the
few
tap. I didn't
few
pass him.
altercations, but nothing major. I had a moment with Excess early on.
Tell us what happened there.
I overtook him in the final sector, and then coming through turn one, he sort of tagged the back of me, which sort of ruined my exit. And then he went for the overtake down the next straight after ruining my exit. And I was like, yeah, we had a bit of contact in the next corner. Nothing major, but
Pro car.
yeah, we were
PTSD.
sort of glued together around that next corner.
Yeah, we did see some gluing between a couple of other drivers as well, so it definitely seems like these cars definitely need to be given as much space as they can.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys as well, with these wet conditions, there did not seem to be too many puddles on track. How were the conditions for you?
For me, they were better than they were in practice, but I feel like in my own personal practice, but I feel that's because there was more cars on the track, and more cars means that the more water is getting displaced, so there's a more dry racing line. It wasn't too bad. It's definitely
the puddles were a little bit better than I had in my practice, but again, that was like solid storm conditions the whole time, and only one car
same.
going around.
Same.
So yeah, they were still in about the same place as I expected. So nothing really caught me out this time. It's only like maybe 2 corners you have to mind them on.
Right,
There was a thing in Syndicate back when I was doing leagues there, and I will be doing leagues there again soon. The less practice I had in Syndicate, the better I tended to perform. In fact, I got my first win when I didn't practice for a track at all. And it seems to have applied to here too, because I've only started practicing today. Literally at 3 or 2 p.m. until now, I was practicing. And that was like the only practice I did before the race. And I got
I mean, that is essentially the Trouble way, and you finished pretty close to him. So I think you may have made yourself a new rival there.
I beat him, actually. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Trouble. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like we can interview Trouble about that beef after. But considering we got both of you on at the same time, was there any beef between you guys this race?
Not really. We were very similar in pace.
I think me rejoining early on my first lap maybe is the only beef.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yes, you rejoined, and kind of I had to sort of brake check myself in order to not run right into the back of you.
I kept expecting to be overtaking you any moment. I didn't realize you'd like stayed right at the back through to there.
Yeah, no, I got. What happened was because I didn't turn spray off, so I couldn't see shit. So I was super cautious in the first few laps, and that paid off because everyone else crashed and I didn't.
Well, Binding, you do have my respect for keeping on those graphics.
It was not intentional. I would have turned them off if I had the choice. I just completely forgot to.
You did.
Respect immediately revoked. Cuckoo, how about you? Were you using the spray or not?
I think I had spray off myself.
I'm disappointed in both of you. Good night. Let's get trouble in here.
I do actually have a question.
Go ahead.
For the first time ever.
Holy shit.
So we very interesting, quite a small track, quite an interesting race that we had for this round. Round 4 is the feature race at a well-known track called Le Mans. Now, as
I've never heard of it.
we've got a as we've got a Nissan driver, probably the slowest car, and a Mercedes driver, how much are you guys both looking forward to that track?
She's gonna beat me. She's gonna find a way to beat me. It happened at Hockenheim until she got DC'd. Happened here, and this track has a lot of straights, and the Nissan does not do good on straights, and she still beat me. I am getting closer to her in terms of pace, at least. Doesn't really say much because she's in a fucking Nissan.
I love you, Nissan.
Oh no.
Nissan loves you too. Anyways,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to expect going into Le Mans, to be honest, but I'm hoping I can do fairly well, considering it's double points. So,
I have a question, actually.
you have a question?
I don't have the DLC for Le Mans. Does Le Mans have the historical layout with the with no chicanes?
Not yet, I don't think.
It has
Please.
chicanes.
Please.
It
Damn it!
I
You
mean,
hope
chance.
there will be no chicane.
you could
My
just
one
go through
chance.
them. You could.
That's true. That's true. I'm sure I won't get fucking obliterated for that.
Oh. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully we'll see you for that, and I'll also be judging your liveries on round 4 as well. So
I can't wait to get ranked C again.
If you rank a C, Nismo,
It's the prophecy. I must always be ranked C.
you must always be mid.
I'm just permanently mid, but my driving isn't.
Oh, that is that would be definitely one to put in the quotes book.
So you're Nicky Lauda then, got ya.
Nicky Lauda wasn't. Wait. Oh my god! Hang on.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it. I know the man's dead. I know
That
it's
took
too
me
soon.
way too long. Oh,
Are you saying I'm going to have a horrible accident?
I am, sir. I'm going to be the cause of that accident.
It's,
Sasha Kira, welcome back to the chat.
You ever drive at the Nürburgring, fucking watch yourself, is what I'm saying.
Interesting tactics.
The Nordschleife is no longer safe for you.
I'm not sure if the Nordschleife ever was safe, but yeah, thanks for
Guys.
coming on, Biting and Cuckoo. Unless
thank
Nismo
you,
has
thank
any
you.
more questions, I think I'm gonna have to end this one for now. But
All I'm gonna
yeah, thanks
say
for coming on.
All I'm going to say is, Cuckoo, I know how to take apart cars now. All right, watch yourself. Okay, I'm sorry.
He's going to
okay.
take my car apart before the start.
Okay, sorry.
The new version of Le Mans, you have to build the car first before you can start.
Beam and G style.
BMG. That's
Yeah, you can build your own car in Beam and G as well.
No, you're thinking of automation.
Well, but you can use it in Beam and G.
Yeah, you can port it to BMG, but
Yeah.
automation is the game you make the car in. You're silly. You're silly. You are.
How dare you?
You are
Right.
very silly.
I
Well,
think he's lost it.
we'll hopefully
I finished in the top 10. Of course, I have.
well, but we'll hopefully see you next week for Le Mans then.
Yeah, hopefully
will.
just as happy as well.
No,
I suppose we'll find out.
no.
Yeah. All right,
Yep.
until
see you guys
next
later.
time.
Have a good one. Keep the beef fresh.
Of course.
Martin, how
Alright.
dare you hydrate me again? You bastard.
That is an almighty tall glass, though, I must say.
Yes, a pint glass. So who are we? Should we bring in Trouble and Fennec?
Why not? I'm sure we could. Oh, actually, yeah, I guess he unmuted himself. We could bring them both in. So, welcome to the two family members. Now, first, I want to ask you, Fennec, why on earth were you 38 laps behind?
So I believe my game DC'd and then reconnected without kicking me from the server.
Well, that is a miracle.
Well, Yeah, I was surprised. It was literally like half a lap of every other car just standing still on the track. And then following that point, all of the cars corrected themselves, but I believe all of the timings for the other cars stopped. And my timing for my car on everyone else's screens also stopped, I believe. So in reality, and I have submitted a ticket for this, I believe I was the first car to cross the line after Matt having completed 40 laps, which would, I think, put me 10th.
So on your screen, you also did not see the times of everyone else. Like, you could not see their positions.
Not correctly, no.
That is
Except for
absolutely
maybe
wild.
Xevious, although that was... Like, I believe Xevious's gap was the only one that was vaguely correct, although he did unlap himself towards the end because my tyres were shot. And the time didn't change largely, so not entirely sure how accurate that is.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we didn't really catch you too much during the race because of the whole timing glitch, but did you have any noteworthy fights?
Well, yes, but I don't know if the other person realized they were fights.
Imagine they just think you're lapped and they want to get a blue flag on you.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, gosh.
I was pretty confident I was battling with Eddie, and he kept making mistakes on power, so I managed to stay ahead. I don't know if you realized we were actually in a fight for position.
I mean, in a way, that's an
good small
advantage because they're
battles
going to be
with-
less defensive, right?
Yeah, good small battles with Jedlin, Trouble, and or not so much Trouble. He stayed ahead of me most of it.
How about the
and
incidents? Because
Kinda.
you did, in fact, pit much earlier than anyone else.
Yes. So early on, I think it was like first lap, I had someone on the inside of me and someone on the outside of the second of the like inner long curbs. I believe it was Tomber on the outside, and I tapped him, and he ended up not being able to stay on the track. So I waited and went back to last. And then not long after that, I had the through the field and tapped the back of Exus.
Well, hold on.
and-
Did Fennec cut out?
He he cut out for me as well. Discord servers are terrible.
I
What
couldn't
was the
hear
last
you
thing
when
you
you said
heard?
just my luck either.
Oh, yeah,
God,
Fennec, can you repeat that last bit because apparently people on stream couldn't hear it either.
Where was I up to on your?
Oh gosh. Okay, did
That's a
anyone
good
else hear
question.
where
Yeah,
it was?
yeah, it just cut out as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Right.
This is working great.
Yeah. Brilliant. Not at all sarcastic.
So tell us, Fennec, this all started on the day you were born, correct?
Not quite. No, the first lap of the race, accidentally pushed Tomber off, waited for him, back to
Mhm.
dead last. Then started making my way back through the field, tapped the back of Exus, which put me into a spin. Thankfully, it was only a very small tap, and thankfully didn't do anything to Exus, so that's good. Although being sideways murdered the tyres and meant the rears were immediately on about a third tyre wear, so I went into the pit to change them.
And after that, were there any more incidents following that?
No, a couple of sketchy moments avoiding spun cars, but other than that, nothing particularly interesting.
Yeah,
Other than trying to
it did
drive a
seem.
car on shot tires from pitting so early. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Trouble and Fennec, you guys both pitted 4 fresh tires. Do you think anyone other than maybe Ellie tried to either do a no stop or just drive on the same tires for the whole race?
I don't think so. I think it was just Ellie.
Yeah.
It did seem like they tried to go for a fast lap at the end, but did not quite make it because Mats was going beast mode tonight. But yeah.
I mean, as I said in the chat, Mats is just too freaking fast.
Yeah, he beat
Or
the
too
field
freaking
by
good, but either
27
way.
seconds.
Yeah. Well, I was saying because he managed to beat all of the Mercs on the most Merc-dominant track, and he's gonna do it again next week.
Yeah, Le Mans is going to be an
Probably.
interesting one. How do you think you're going to differ, one in a McLaren and one in a Merc?
Oh, he's going to be miles ahead. There's no doubt.
I won't get second, I don't think, but I think another maybe top 5 is possible, assuming nothing goes horribly wrong.
And Trouble, we also caught you fighting a decent bit with the likes of Binding. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a bit more of that from your perspective?
So after the pit stop, I was a good bit ahead. Fennec was ahead of Binding. That was at the point where we figured out where Fennec was in terms of position. And I started getting away. And then frickin' bottled it and lost a good 10 seconds and ended up behind Yedlin, Fennec, and Binding. Or I was in front of Binding, but then I made another mistake and ended up behind Binding. But basically after that, as we sort of spread out a bit more, I realized that I was a little bit faster than Binding. Managed to eventually, after a good, nearly 10 laps chasing him, managed to catch up, and then spent another good 5 laps at least trying to overtake him. Overtook, and then looks at my fuel and realized that I was just about not going to make it without fuel saving. And basically at that point I was like, right, I really need to save some fuel. So he ended up gaining on me again, and then I was trying to battle him while fuel saving. And yeah, basically, when he got past me, it's because I sort of lifted, I didn't get the best exit, and then still lifted into the hairpin because I was low on fuel. And I know he mentioned that we had a bit of contact.
Yes.
Funnily enough, I thought, because effectively at the point of braking, I was behind. I got ahead by the apex, but although I stayed on track, I felt like it was my fault that there was contact. So I actually waited for him and let him go. Otherwise, I would have basically driven away because I got a decent exit and was like, yeah, nah, I feel a bit guilty and just slowed up. By the sounds of it, he felt exactly the same thing and just didn't lift off quite as much. So and I guess I could have just not done anything and then potentially would have beat Binding. But, well. I was fine with it. But funnily enough, the funny thing about it is that in the last few laps, I was still, for not the last lap, but the 2 laps before that, so second and third last laps, I still was like, I'm still low on fuel. So I was both trying to attack him and massively fuel save. Which was a bit mad. Trying to just basically coast as far as possible and brake a bit late was a little sketchy, to say the least.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was, but how did you get into that situation again where you're just that low on fuel?
Basically, I did my fuel calculations off of the first half of the race, where I was doing some fuel saving because these things take ages to refuel. And I was like, oh, I only technically need 3 liters to finish at this rate. At this rate being a key phrase. And was like, oh yeah, I'll put 6 liters in because then I've got a bit of a buffer. Turns out I was fuel saving a bit more than I actually realized. And then when I stopped fuel saving, or did less fuel saving in the second half of the race, I was then just barely not going to make it. And literally, when I say I was fighting and trying to save fuel, I only stopped saving fuel on the last lap to try and overtake Binding again. And at the end of, obviously we had a drag race at the final corner to the line with me starting behind, but when I crossed the line, I was on 0.0 liters of fuel.
Yeah, imagine if he'd actually made that overtake in the final corner. That would have been insane.
That would have been insane. And actually, I nearly managed to overtake him on the sort of S section. Usually it's pretty much flat out. But the problem was that I got a good exit, but then had to go to the inside of Binding to actually make it past, because just with where my car was, if I'd crossed over to the other side, I would have just lost too much and not been able to do it. So I sort of risked it, aimed for the inside, but that meant putting 2 wheels on the curb. And basically, when I hit the curb, 2 of my wheels just spun a bit, and I lost the extra momentum I had. So I didn't lose a ton of time, but it lost me the ability to overtake. And yeah, that basically meant that I really needed at that point to be sort of at least have my nose next to him into that second class corner and just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think that would have definitely made it even more exciting, and it is really, really difficult to get a clean
Yeah.
move done there, as we saw with multiple incidents between Kays and Gillis, who unfortunately did not come in for an interview tonight. So we don't have anyone finished on the podium in here. But what's been your
unfortunately.
favorite MSR podium that you can remember so far?
What do you mean by MSR podium?
Like your best podium finish in any MSR league.
Well, I still only have 2, so it's a pretty. I mean, and in reality, I'd say it's not the Hockenheim one. It would be the other one that was at Silverstone, because that had a lot more fighting. So I'd say that one.
Fair enough. How about you, Fennec? Do you still remember your favorite MSR podium?
I don't know. There's a good few of them. I think possibly
Don't rub it in.
towards the end of the V10 I'd pick. I think it was Suzuka. That was one of my favorite races.
Was it also due to a large amount of battling, or was it just because your raw pace was that good on that day?
Some battling, some amount of just raw pace, and some amount of just enjoying that track in those cars.
That definitely sounds like a very healthy balance for sim racing. Nismo, do you have any more questions for the two brothers before we let them go?
Yeah, one, Fennec, can you help me out with the tier list?
Yeah, well,
Thank you. And 2, where do you think your guys' livery is going to be rated on it? I'm not going to give anything away. But,
Fennec made it, he can say. I don't know.
I wouldn't be disappointed with B, but I'm expecting A.
okay. And one more question from...
This was going in D tier, right?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
I'm making F just for you.
Good to know,
No,
good to know.
okay.
I'll
Don't
add a
put an F in,
specific
don't put
category
it.
that just says something along the lines of that.
It won't be... It'll be A, B, C... It'll go S, A, B, C, D, E, B, S.
I think there was a Discord moment there.
Yeah,
Oh.
there was.
God damn, this stupid little Discord. But yeah, it's
I'm
either
not sure
way.
if anyone can hear me, but I think there's another Discord moment.
Is it
There was.
happening with
We could hear
me?
you just then, but there was quite a big gap. Not just now, Nismo. This is really not going so smooth.
Nismo, look extra close to the
since
camera.
nobody else seems to be able to talk.
Yeah, I just did.
Speak
being
close
bad
to the
at
camera,
quality.
Nismo, so we can read your lips.
We all tell what I was saying.
I couldn't hear what you were saying. There was another Discord moment.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, so I noticed earlier there was a comment on binding being bad at quali. I'm sorry, you cannot. You can't take my role as being terrible at quali and then doing okay. Because I qualified 16th and then ended up 8th. And that, other than Hockenheim, which was the one time I've qualified well, that's relatively consistent.
So, would you say that qualifies as official beef between you and Binding Trouble?
I wouldn't say beef, I'd say a rivalry maybe, but we haven't actually come to blows yet or like made a ticket or anything, so
Well,
I wouldn't quite call
rivalry,
it beef, at least yet.
a rivalry is just another word for a healthy competitive beef. So, I think we can establish that Binding is a collector of beef now.
To me, I feel like the difference is that a rivalry becomes beef when it ends up in like some sort of incident or something, and we haven't had any tickets yet. In fact, I haven't been in a ticket in a while. Hopefully, I haven't cursed myself.
Yeah. I wonder if that would count as a commentator's curse since it was made in
Well, no, I'm not a
booth.
commentator.
Yeah, anyway, you're in the commentator's booth though.
Also, I didn't do it to Well, also, I did it to myself. It's not quite the same.
I mean, who did we commentator curse? Hold on.
You've written that down, right, Nismo?
Yeah, we
I'm gonna
commentator
go and
curse.
leave this interview, but thank you for the interview. See what happens with the positions, and see you next time.
Yeah, see you next
Have
time.
a good one. Thanks for coming on.
Yes. So the sorry, I completely just that damn. So I think today on our list of people who did not pay us for the commentator curse was Exus and Condor. So,
Are you sure we didn't curse Ellie at some point too?
Did we?
I will say, you in Quali, you were watching me for a while, and you know I was the last person to set a valid lap. It was because basically, like, immediately before you started spectating me, basically Kaiser had spun out. To avoid him, I went off the track and invalidated both the lap I was on and the next lap.
Oh,
But hey, at least you managed to avoid the commentator's curse because you did it after that happened, not before.
exactly. Nisma, if you're not sure about Ellie, don't write that down, by the way, because I'm starting to doubt myself as well.
No. You were right about
Yeah,
Ellie.
we all
That's
doubt
fresh.
you, it's
That's I can work out what's fresh ink and what's old ink. So yeah, no. You were right about Ellie. It was definitely. I was just writing down another marker because I've got total from each round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right now though.
Don't forget to update the one on the stream then, because that still says 14.
I will do that now.
Well,
in fact, I think it is still.
While you're sorting
Actually,
that out, you don't need me to be here for that. So I'll
actually,
say thanks for
trouble. Before you run,
Yes.
we do have one more question from the audience, and they've insisted
Okay.
that we ask this one. Who is the favorite child?
How the fuck am I supposed to answer that?
who has the bigger picture?
That makes it even weirder.
The thing is, most of the time they're identical size pictures, or they have both of us in. It's literally impossible to choose.
That definitely sounds like a very parental answer. So I'll let you go with that
I'm
one.
not going to answer for them. Like, yeah.
All right then. Well,
yeah, you got Carl over to thank for that one.
Thanks for. I don't know. They're just making it awkward.
Well, I'll end it on a slightly less awkward question
thanks for streaming.
Yeah,
no worries. Before I go, I want to leave you on a better note. What car would be the worst car in the game to do a league with?
That's a good question. There's loads that I haven't driven, is the thing.
Well, but could any of them be worse than the go-kart?
That really slow go-kart was terrible. I think of the ones I've driven, that probably is the worst.
All right, well, I do look forward to asking you that question again when you've driven some more cars as well, so we can have some up-to-date information on that. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, Trouble. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks. And yeah, have a good rest of the stream, however long it lasts.
A couple more seconds, probably.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that is gonna be yeah, we're now gonna pretty much close the stream off, but before we do that, let's have a look at I'm hoping that the points have been updated, and indeed they have. So, well, they're literally being updated as we speak. So I'll just have a look at. So right now it's going to be Matt's leading the championship by 20 points, with Veilside 10 points ahead of Gillis in third. And then it goes Trouble, Ultimate K's, Eddie, Fennec, Wild Mammoth, Binding, Devious, Cuckoo, Tomahawk, Scuderia Condor, Shad, Max, Jedlin, Exus, Ellie, Trixer, Kunisek, Silver, Dimitrov, Escher, Svi, Lewis, and Dina. So
and this Trouble guy's got a lot of points. He's really taking it to the guys up top.
Yeah. Yeah, Trouble doing a really good job in that Merc, and hopefully he'll do quite an even better job in the team standing. VR46 with the lucky number 69 points ahead of Moisty High Riders, and then the Tyre Smokers in P3, Team Tree Hugger in P4, Mercedes GT1 D2 in P5, PQ Blunders in P6, Cygen Racing in P7, Team and Matt in P8, Scuderia Inferno, probably one of my favourite names, not biased.
Another Discord moment.
Oh, and Sentinel Motorsport in P10 and Liztards in P11.
So yeah, for anyone that didn't catch that because of the Discord moment, we have Scuderia Inferno in P9 and Matt in P8. Yeah, I just noticed as well, Binding is actually 1 point ahead of Cuckoo, so that could potentially add further to the beef.
Yeah, indeed, especially with double points going into the next race, it's going to be absolutely, well, if those two get close to each other, it's going to be very, very close indeed. But looking at the more important championship of the commentator curse list, it's going to be Exus now leading away. They were tied with Ellie on 2. Wait, no, Ellie didn't get one then. I don't know at this point. They were tied with Ellie on 2, but Exus now leading with 3 commentator curses. Ellie follows behind with 2, and Trouble, Jedlin, Mats, Dimitrov, Shad, Gillish, Veilside, Condor, all close behind with 1 commentator curse. So,
I'm afraid I didn't catch any of that after you said tied with.
It
was another Discord moment.
Yeah, so in tied in P3 on 1 commentator curses, Trouble, Jedlin, Mats, Dimitrov, Shad, Gillish, Veilside, and Scuderia Condor.
Yeah, it's quite the variety of drivers that have been cursed so far this season.
Yeah, so that is going to be it for the stream. It's been great streaming for you guys. I am going to raid someone. Yeah, it's been great commentating. Next week, it is Le Mans, where it will be the feature race, so it will be even longer. I think it'll be maybe an hour and a half, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong, but I'm going to go with an hour and a half long race around the track of Le Mans, and as well as that, I will probably be streaming. I have a 12-hour race this Saturday, which I'm racing with some of the other members on a Sato Corsa on fun enough Le Mans. So going to be streaming that for about 12 hours, and hopefully I will either see you for that or I'll see you for next week's race. Until then, guys, it's been great. Yeah, great commentating, and I will see you around.
Good nights, everyone.
And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close to P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kaze are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Dean are all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, P3 starting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.